everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are going to be getting into our September 2020 fashion roast. There were quite a lot of looks in September. Honestly, it's fashion month. People are turning it out, trying to get new ways of their clothing being seen, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter, YouTube, music videos, it's all happening. So we're gonna be talking about some of the best and some of the worst looks from the month of September 2020, so buckle your seatbelts. So first up is Alicia Keys, legend, icon, star, and she is wearing Balmain. Now, Olivier Roustong's Balmain is, I don't want to say consistent because it's not. It's inconsistent, but when it's good, and when it's bad, it's really bad. He's been definitely working to bring biker shorts really into the house DNA at Balmain, although I'm pretty positive Pierre Balmain was not a biker shorts kind of gal. But this knit style with a little bit of a black and white graphic, I respect the idea of making more accessible garments, making something that might be a little bit more affordable for the Balmain customer, because listen, some of those beaded dresses, there's a lot of zeros involved. But here, I don't think it works in the way that we'd like it to. The graphic print or graphic woven in detail just buy off the rack sort of thing. It doesn't really have like a Balmain specialty to it, and I think we sort of just see it as, oh, you know, two-piece and a biscuit. Good to see, thank you so much. Let's sop it up and move on with our lives. Next up is Bree Runway, and she is wearing a Moschino quilted pannier dress. Now, some of you will probably remember that Jeremy Scott did a somewhat Baroque inspired collection. I mean, there was beautiful takes on the habit à la Française with denim and gold sort of Baroque embroidery, and then there was a slew of pannier gowns that were sort of like short and cropped and didn't fall to the floor, so it felt a little bit more modern. And Bree is wearing, honestly, one of the best ones. It is this sort of cream ivory white quilted dress that has little gold buttons at each of the intersections, and then it's sort of piped in this really exquisite, over-the-top, ridiculous, full of like hours of work, sort of piping in a Baroque sense as well. She's wearing some sort of thigh-high boot with a chunky ass heel, and I love it. The look is so opulent, the look is so ridiculous, it's so over the top, and I know a lot of people don't really like when designers reference sort of 18th century French dress because it just doesn't feel modern or something wearable, but I'm obsessed with it. I love to see designers take on iconic references in Western fashion history and put their own spin on it, and honestly, Jeremy Scott and that Moschino collection, it was iconic, and I love to see Bree in it as well. Next up is BTS for the cover of Variety magazine. Now, BTS has really been doing this very suited up, Savile Row bespoke tailoring aesthetic for some time. I know we saw it in the Dynamite music video, and it seems like they're following through with that. Unfortunately, I don't really feel that it's that interesting or exciting. It's just always blah tailoring. Like, yes, it fits them really, really nicely, and that's super duper great, but it's a boring ass suit. I would hope that it fits nicely. There's just nothing here from, you know, a black suit, a little gray tweed, suited up tie, button down shirts. It just doesn't feel exciting. It doesn't feel interesting. I don't know if that's what they're going for. I don't know if they're trying to be a little bit more somber, a little bit more dressed up, a little bit more masculine, but I'm not enjoying it. I really want them to move into something a little bit more exciting, a little bit more avant-garde, a little bit more fashion forward. I'm hoping that this is like only a phase for them. Next up is Cardi B, and now Cardi B is officially a face of Balenciaga. I mean, it's hard not to remember the I like those Balenciagas, the ones that look like Saab, as an iconic moment in Cardi B's lyrics and sort of the continuation of rap, sort of bringing the fashion industry and luxury fashion into the mainstream. I actually recently was in the Balenciaga store this weekend, and I have to say, I was going to look at like the pagoda shoulder jackets from the runway. Everybody else was there to buy the sneakers. So it really is an incredibly important part of the brand at this point. And people can say whatever they want, but Cardi B was instrumental in those Balenciaga sock sneakers to the point where I don't even wear mine anymore because, yeah, it's not doable. Cardi B was sort of graced with being probably the first celebrity face of Balenciaga under Dino Vasalia, who is the current creative director. Now, a lot of you are gonna say, well, there are so many celebrities that are part of ambassadorship programs. I mean, listen, Chanel literally chews up celebrity ambassadors and then spits them out like 10 minutes later. So the fact that Cardi is an ambassador for a fashion brand, not crazy. But again, Dino Vasalia does not do celebrity ambassadors. You don't see it on the red carpet unless people are buying it. You don't see celebrities really sitting front row at the Balenciaga shows the way that every other fashion brand does it. And so the fact that Cardi B is not only like an ambassador with like an Instagram post or something like that, Balenciaga took out a whole ass billboard in Paris and put her face on it in a sort of very draped, easy peasy gown with an iconic Dimna knife boot. It's a big deal, at least to me, at least to people that care about fashion. I'm very interested in that fact. Who would have thought that Cardi B would be the one? Next up is Chloe Grace Moretz in Louis Vuitton, and I haven't seen Chloe Grace in a hot minute. Like, she sort of fell off the fashion map, which honestly, not a bad thing. This Louis Vuitton by Nicolas Ghesquière look is hideous. I'm sorry, but early on in Nicola's LV career, it was like something interesting. It was different, it was out there, the bags were great. Now it's just hodgepodge shit thrown together. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on, and everybody says, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so wonderful, très magnifique, because everybody's on the LV payroll. I am not, and so I will say it. Looks like dog shit. I'm sorry, it's not interesting. We get the 80s graphic sweater, which who cares? Terrible, egregious. We got rid of 80s graphic prints for a reason. They should have been burnt in the 80s and shouldn't be coming back now. A white belt layered over the graphic sweater for what reason I cannot tell you, and then a sort of graphic color blocked ill-fitting pant. Now you would think that one of the richest brands in the entirety of the luxury space would be able to, I don't know, make clothes for celebrities that fit. Obviously not. Next up is Janelle Monae, and she was at the premiere for her movie Antebellum, and she's wearing Elie Saab. Now normally you see Janelle Monae in white and black. Like, those are her signature colors, signature style. I actually love it, and it's very much so an important thing in my life. But the fact that Janelle went for a pure sort of black dress, it's an interesting choice. I'm not totally mad about it, and I'll be honest, there's a reason I don't really talk about like Elie Saab and Zahir Murad. It's just very like pretty she, and it's great for people on Pinterest. It doesn't really push the envelope for me. There's tension. You could cut it with a butter knife. And this black dress, it's a sort of simple, you know, style. It has a black velvet belt there, but you know what? It's thicker. It's not just a little Maria Grazia tiny belt. It's a sort of lace detail that has these sort of veins running through it. It's a sheer skirt, but it has this also sort of opaque overlay as well, which adds something to it. The necklaces are a little bit much for me. You know what? Seeing the bag now, the black and the white, it's playing into it. But maybe she was trying to be like dark and gothic and sort of spooky ooky because it's a horror movie. I'm guessing that's sort of the vibe. Maybe that's why we're getting the veins of glitter. Yet she's trying to like stay glamorous, but I expect a lot more from Janelle Monae at all points, because honestly, there's very rare times that she doesn't deliver. This, not mad about it, but also not obsessed with it either. And now listen, I'm not a fan of Jennifer Lopez's fashion choices just because, listen, I don't want to talk about it, but it, who must not be named, exists forever in our minds. But she's wearing Tory Burch recently with like her, A-Rod, the kids. I don't know who the kids are, but there are kids there. And she looks really good in this Tory Burch dress. I have to say, Tory Burch, sometimes she can make a moment. Listen, I'm not saying the ballet flats are good, I'm not saying the bags are good, but the runway shows, when they were runway shows, weren't the worst things in the entire world. I was kind of upset that I never got invited to one. And this dress, it's a really simple sort of sheath dress. It has that sort of diamond cut print going on. It's a little bit asymmetrical. She's wearing it with like a thigh-high leather boot, or at least a knee-high leather boot, giving just very casual, modern, Americana sort of vibes. And like, I'm not mad about it. If JLo started to work with brands like Tory Burch and Zimmerman and all these sorts of like, you know, Batsheva, very American classics. I don't know why I just shook like that, because that's not what American classics do, but that sort of very American classic vibe, I wouldn't be like super mad about it. Like honestly, if J-Lo sort of did all Coach, like 1970s, like suedes and leathers and browns of all different shades, I could enjoy that. Like I could get behind that lifestyle for her. And I feel like something about this sort of prairie dress that's very Americana, referential sort of styling from Tory Burch, I'll deal with it. I'll take it, I will put it up here and save it, and I'll replace It Who Must Not Be Named with this image instead. Speaking of American classics, let's talk about Jourdan Dunn in Yeezy. Now, Jourdan Dunn is not the American classic. She is a British supermodel, some may say, but she is wearing Kanye West's Yeezy collection, which was shown in Paris. You know, Northwest was there. She was like, what are those? And everybody was like, haha, and Kim Kardashian was like taking a video crying, and I was like, all right, well, to each their own. But she's wearing, I believe, a piece or a couple pieces from the Runway show. From what I understand, it's a very sort of simple crop top in some sort of like quilted puffer comforter sort of style. That's why it's puffed up like that. It's definitely cropped, and I don't see a bra underneath, which I'm kind of living for. It's a really sort of simple jacket in a more beigey comforter coat style. I'm just calling these comforters because it just looks like an old comforter. A pair of sort of long split hem pants that aren't the best in terms of fitting. But I have to say, she's kind of selling it to me. Like that crop top, easy peasy, that could be 100% retail seller if you really want to be about the easy lifestyle. It looks good. And Kanye, a good friend of mine always says, is very good at hiring people to do the work that he needs done. So here's the thing about Kanye. Some people might say he's a little bit out there, and I'm not gonna comment on that. But I will say he is very good at hiring designers to create the things that he wants. Now, the designer who was a CSM graduate and part of the Fall 2020 CSM graduate show, a designer from CSM's Fall 2020 Runway collection, which is the graduate collection of sort of the best graduates from the class, and his name is Ding Yu Zhang. He created these really crazy sort of puffer styles that had like masks and headpieces, and it was probably one of the most exciting styles alongside Paulina Russo. And I'm pretty positive Kanye hired him because he has Yeezy in his bio. And I think that is where these sort of puffer styles have originated from. And listen, Kanye, I don't know, is necessarily taking credit for these styles, but it's interesting to see that a big sort of designer and creative like Kanye is bringing on really cool, young, innovative designers like Ding, as well as people like Mo Ungalesi to be part of his design world. And that's what I think more designers need to do, especially ones that are celebrities who aren't actually designers. Overall, I have to say, love the look, think it's really brilliant, love the fact that Kanye is bringing in young creatives to help him build out his vision, and I hope to see more of it in the future. Next up, let's talk about the Kardashians. Now, speaking of young creatives, we have seen and talked about the designer Petras before. Now, you'll probably remember their work from Gigi Hadid and Nicki Minaj, both doing sort of pregnancy looks, and it was that sort of wet look. It was called out by many people for being copied by John Galliano most recently, and Petras sort of originated a fabric technique or manipulation style that has allowed garments to look like they've had water sort of thrown on them when in fact they haven't. And so we're seeing a little bit of a step out for Petras here. I assume that the Kardashians, who were shooting for their KKW fragrance sort of experience, we're looking for young talent to create pieces for them. Unfortunately, I think Petras still needs a little bit of work in terms of working with color. I understand the sort of drapery and flowiness of these little cropped and skirt styles, but it just doesn't hit in the same way those white looks do. I think the silky fabric is very, very hard to really make look good. It's just not amazing, especially when it has all these ruffles and flows and all this sort of shit. It just gets lost in the sauce. You would never even know that it's Petras, so I think a little bit more work needs to be put into different fabric manipulations and techniques so that it's very evident and apparent that it is Petras. I don't know how they'd be able to do that, but listen, I trust them. If they figured out how to make dresses look like they had water thrown on them, they can figure out how to make silky little satins look the same. So overall, it's kind of boring, kind of sad, want to see better from everybody involved in the future. Let's talk about Kim Kardashian as a solo artist in the world of fashion. She is wearing a Balmain look from Pretty Positive, the Spring-Summer 2021 collection, which Paris Fashion Week reviews coming soon, definitely coming soon. Takes a little bit of time to write out, but they'll be there. Kim is wearing a pagoda shoulder, which honestly is sort of the new trend between Balenciaga, Rick Owens, Olivier Rousteing. The girls are loving a pagoda shoulder, which was invented by Pierre Cardin, who was sort of an icon in terms of branding in the 1970s, 80s, 90s. I'm pretty positive the man had toasters, so he knew what he was doing. Now, the pagoda shoulder, I'm pretty positive, is inspired by pagoda buildings that have these sort of really nice little ridge details that come off of them. And most recently, I was at Balenciaga and did try on a pagoda jacket, because I thought, listen, if anybody can pull it off, it'd be me. I was wrong. They're very hard to look good in, and honestly, I look like I had a perpetual hunchback like this, and that doesn't help me at all, because I sort of have a perpetual hunchback anyway. But Kim is sort of serving it. Listen, if you can pull off the pagoda shoulder, show it from the back, and don't look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, I'm happy for you. Am I obsessed with this Balmain monogram? No, because you know what? I understand it was probably invented in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, probably the 70s. I don't think it's really that chic, and it looks so similar to Givenchy prints that I couldn't tell the two apart unless I'm really looking at it, and so to me that also means that customers that don't really know the two monograms probably can't tell them apart, which is going to make for a really sticky situation for the brands. Do I like the fact that there is a crop top pagoda shoulder silhouette? Absolutely. And do I like the fact that Olivier consistently is doing his biker shorts, which to me is one of the styles that will be synonymous with the late 2010s and the early 2020s? Absolutely. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really smart to go in and sort of go ham on a silhouette and a style and a garment that is very synonymous with our age. I'm not giving away any details from the fall 2020 review, but he did it there as well, and I think it's really smart. I think it's really interesting, and if it sells, I'm very happy about it. But the print, she can go. She's done. Let's figure out a new one. You know what I mean? Olivier, be like Karl Lagerfeld in the manner of invent a new monogram that everybody's gonna go ape shit for. You know what I mean? Like, do it. Make it happen. Give us something exciting, something different. I know you have it in you. Next up is Kate Hudson, and Kate Hudson is wearing Oscar de la Renta, and it's not my favorite. Listen, I don't necessarily mind the silhouette of the dress. The off the shoulder is actually really lovely, and I love the way that it's shot so that you can actually see through the sort of silhouette of Kate's body through this white sheer dress. Listen, Oscar definitely does do a lot of floral styles. Are they terribly original or terribly interesting? No, not exactly, but you know what? A lemon leaf sort of dress is very basic. But you know what? If that's your customer and that's what's gonna sell, keep the business alive, I guess. But whoever styled it with this red hat, no, I don't get that. I don't see where it's coming in. Like a nice green hat would have been lovely. Would have been like the top of a tree. It would have been gorgeous. But the red, bleh. The rest of the dress, fine, can deal with. It is what it is. But styling, no. Next up is Kim Petras on the cover of Antidote magazine, and she is wearing Louis Vuitton by Nicolas Ghesquière. Now, listen, this dress from this angle, less offensive. On the runway, very offensive. But I like the fact that it's paired with a cute little petite Mal bag, and I feel like Nicolas Ghesquière and Kim Petras actually would be like a good combination in terms of brand ambassador for LV. I feel like Nico would love a little bit of a There Will Be Blood sort of moment. Listen, the way it's shot actually makes it really less offensive, and I can somewhat get into the idea of this brown zebra print with a little bit of a black bra sort of overlay style. Let's take the runway image and make her disappear. Poof, she's gone. And like, then let's look at this and say, oh, this is nice. This is doable. It's paired with a very iconic Nicolas Ghesquière Petite Mal bag that is synonymous with his work and the history of Louis Vuitton. Overall, it's shot really, really well, and I think that's what a good stylist photographer does, is take garments that are very questionable in certain places and make them very tasteful in others, and so I'll take what I can get. Next up is a whole slew of looks from Letitia Wright, who was on the cover of Elle magazine. Now, if you guys do not know Letitia, I'm sorry for you. She plays the iconic Shuri in the Black Panther movies and the Marvel movies. Listen, I watched it. She's an icon. I love her. Firstly, on the cover, she is wearing this black Dior corduroy suit. Now, normally I'm not a fan of Maria Grazia's Dior, but here, you know what? It's a nice fitted suit. I like a little bit of corduroy. I like the sort of tailored aspect, and something about this little hat with the little black lace veil could possibly be a reference to the passing and sort of mourning of Chadwick Boseman, who I'm sure Letitia and Chadwick were very, very close. In reality, it's a really great shot. Very rarely does Dior look this good, but when it looks good, I'll say it, and I think here it's a moment. Then she shows up in this Prada Fall 2020 look. It is a sort of simple black tailored blazer with a little Prada belt bag, which don't love, not obsessed with, but I do love the fact that there is this paneled skirt that has these knife pleats that have sort of been separated in a way. It's very referential of Miuccia Prada's ability to sort of mix masculinity and femininity, put it on its head and then twist it around, shake it up, and then like throw it back up at you, and you're sort of like, I don't know what to do with this, but I enjoy it. So honestly, good to see. Then there is this phenomenal Alexander McQueen look. I'm obsessed with these black thigh-high boots. Like, they were iconic on the runway. They were one of Sarah Burton's best choices that she made from what I believe is her Fall 2020 collection as well. And then you have a really sort of simple cocktail dress that has a little bit of a train, and it has these big sort of puffy shoulders, which is very sort of referential of the UK, which I love about Sarah Burton. She really does go sort of deep in depth into Scotland and Ireland and England and Wales, and sort of pulls out these really amazing references from the history of the countries and sort of mixes them, mashes them, and puts her own spin on them, which is very referential of Alexander McQueen himself, but also has the sort of feminine lightness and airiness that Sarah Burton has brought to McQueen. Honestly, I love it. I think it's great. I think she looks stunning. It's a perfect look to pick. And finally, she wears this Richard Quinn fully embroidered look. Now, I'm pretty positive on the back of this suit, it says like, God Save the Queen, which is a reference to God Save the Queen and playing on Richard Quinn's name. The I Heart Yous and all that, a little bit meh to me. But for the most part, I actually do really enjoy it. It's probably one of the most heavy looks that you've seen here on this channel. I can only imagine how much these pearls and beads all weigh, and also how much time it took to actually get them all on there. So I respect it, I love it, and I'm happy to see Letitia Wright getting like a full sort of fashion experience, a full sort of fashion moment, because I've been waiting for this for quite some time. I'm gonna quickly talk about Lily Aldridge and Proenza Schouler, and I just want to say, like, Proenza's dead. It's over. I'm so sorry, but like that, you sent that out. Sorry, gals. Thank you so much. Have a good one. I have to say, I'm very happy for Lily Allen. And again, listen, I'm not really like a Dior stan. I think we all know this. But at this point, Maria Grazia's cute little sort of 60s mod dress that's a little bit of like a cute, I don't want to say off the shoulder because it's not really off the shoulder, but like an exposing little neckline with these beautiful 6 little buttons in this double-breasted style, and a cute little belt and a veil. Lily looks great. This is her wedding dress, and like, I think that wedding dresses that fall outside of the norm of what a wedding dress should be in Western society is actually really cool, is actually really great. I'm sure that this is probably a reference to the 1960s. There was a lot of sort of protests about women and ideals of what women should be, especially coming after the whole, you know, Christian Dior 1947 new look style that was very sort of regressive for women's fashion. Here, I think Maria Grazia channels the sort of lively, justice looking for and sort of fighting against the ideas of patriarchy and what a woman should look like in clothing, and channels that really, really well here, and I'm happy that Lily Allen saw that, love that, think it looks great, very happy. Next up, Lily Collins. Listen, I'm watching Emily in Paris. A video is coming. I promise, I swear. Now, while Emily in Paris is a hot goddamn mess at every single aspect of her life on that show, Lily Collins looks fantastic in Yves Saint Laurent right here. I guess it's not really Yves Saint Laurent anymore, it's really Saint Laurent Paris, but Anthony Vaccarello's Latex collection, where he sort of brought these like 80s and 70s sort of vibes with little pussy bow blouses that are sheer and nice little sky blue blazers. Was it the most exciting, exhilarating collection? No. But listen, I'll take a latex when I can get it. It's hot, it's sexy, it's cute. I think she looks really, really great here. I don't know if there are more images from her press tour, because I don't know how many press tours people are doing in the middle of COVID, but I think this is wonderful. I think this is what Emily in Paris should have worn if Emily in Paris had her shit together, but she didn't, so But this, love this, gorgeous, beautiful, stunning, wonderful. Next up, let's talk about Lizzo's cover of American Vogue. Now she is wearing a red Valentino sort of ruffle gown. Listen, love Lizzo, think she's brilliant. I just don't think stylists ever really get her in the way that she needs to be gotten. This red dress, listen, is it nice for like a small dinner at a restaurant in LA on your first date? Possibly. Is it great for the cover of Vogue magazine? No. And this is my problem with designers and how they go about dressing plus size people. It's really dumb. Like, this is just a blah, boring ass dress, and I want Lizzo to have like a moment. Pierre Valentino, you guys, 100% could make a cutie, hot, little sexy Valentino haute couture dress for Lizzo to be on the cover of Vogue magazine. And we get this. It's just boring. It's sad. It's a simple sort of tulle dress or organza or chiffon or whatever that's layered. It's blah. It's very 70s and like the not great 70s way. And I just want more for Lizzo. She's had fashion moments in the past that have delivered. So I expect on the cover of Vogue, where it's not a runway look, it's not, you know, posting on Instagram, it's fucking Vogue. Deliver. Deliver! There is this Moschino Couture dress, which I didn't even know Moschino did couture. I don't think Moschino knows Moschino does couture, but it's sort of like a Borat style, like sling bikini that has a pink sort of cape that falls down. And something else that I've come to notice about Lizzo is oftentimes like Lizzo's put in like a bodysuit and some sort of jacket or coat, and to me, it just feels like a very lazy way of dressing plus size people. It just really doesn't deliver in the way that I want and I expect. And again, I just want better for Lizzo. Like, I want a fucking fashion moment for her on the cover of Vogue or in a Vogue spread. Because again, it's Vogue. I expect something exciting. But you know what? At this point, maybe I should not expect exciting from Lizzo. This disaster of a Gucci dress, I can't even believe it made it out of a warehouse, out of an atelier. I can't believe it made it on set, and I can't believe somebody said, oh, you should try this on. That is hideous. It looks like, it's a fucking tulle dress with some horrible asymmetrical, opaque drape. What is the point? I could make that in my backyard. I could stain it myself. It would just be an all white dress, and I rub it through some mud, throw it on Lizzo, and say, okay, great, and then somebody pay me to do that. It's sad, it's disappointing, I want fucking better. Now see, this is not Lizzo's Vogue cover, but Lizzo is wearing this Disgrace NY knit bodysuit with matching socks and matching cardigan. This is the fashion shit I expect from Lizzo. Like, this is a moment, and listen, it's not on the cover of Vogue. Shocking. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Wow, you dressed Lizzo in an interesting manner that's exciting and cool, and it's not on the cover of Vogue. Wow. Maybe Vogue needs to take a look at itself and say, this is about us. It's not about Lizzo. Because Lizzo can dress. Lizzo can turn looks. Lizzo is exciting. She does fashion. She is a moment. She can turn it out. It's the brands need to deliver and give her clothing that is not just boring old lady shit that you would find in some vintage store. I need an exciting take on Lizzo's over-the-top, amazing, exuberant, infectious personality, and I need it to be delivered to me on a beautiful silver platter. This is that. This is that moment. These are not that. Next up is Megan Thee Stallion on the cover of Time magazine, and she is wearing Monsoori. And now listen, Megan is somebody whom I love Megsy. She's brilliant. But this Monsoori dress is just a bit meh for me. It's just sort of like a draped one-shoulder dress. Although I do think the drape is interesting. It definitely feels more exciting than most one-shoulder draped styles, and I do like that it creates some sort of dramatic shape. But the rest of the dress is just sort of blah, and I don't know what I'm expecting from Megan. I still think we need some time for Megan to like really develop a signature style, at least in my opinion. But this is not it. I think there are more exciting things. I think there are brands like Mugler, who she could have worn and, you know, did wear custom looks for the WAP music video. Like, where's that? I want to see that. Let's do that. I'm into that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done for Megan, and I need to see that happening. Speaking of Mugler, Miley Cyrus rolled up in a Casey Cadwallader original full of seams, this crazy sort of sheer tight bodysuit that contours the body through stitches and sort of opaque black fabric. It's lovely. I think it's stunning. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's wonderful. I think it's what we need to see from Casey Cadwallader, and him and Miley Cyrus sort of developing this relationship I think is really cool to really, really interesting. I think it's really, really smart. Miley, you know, she's doing her sort of Midnight Sky album tour style, whatever. This is what I want to see from it. This like sexy, cool Miley that's into herself, loves her sort of punky, rocky style. I'm happy about this. Want to see more of this. Next up is Monica Denise, and now Monica Denise, I believe, is a former R&B singer, might possibly still be an R&B singer, also like momager of sorts from my understanding, but she is wearing Robert I. Now Robert I is one of the most exciting designers currently working, in my humble opinion, and Monica is wearing one of his like tulip trench coats, and I love it. Like, this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying it's really not hard to find cool young designers to create interesting looks for celebrities. This is an amazing, iconic, interesting look. I don't even know what's going on these like petal shoulders that flow down and create this abstract shape, but Monica does. She's wearing the shit out of it. She's turning fucking look. This is what I want to see. It's definitely possible. It's definitely doable. And I think a lot of stylists just are lacking a lot of imagination. Sorry, look at that, like the lips of this jacket. Like, listen, we're talking about lips of a jacket. I've never said that before in my entire life. I don't think many people have. There is lips to the sleeve of this trench coat jacket. Also, Riccardo Tisci, babe, step aside. Obviously, Robert I has understood the trench coat and reimagined it in an interesting, exciting way. So, move along. Thank you. Next up, Paris Hilton wearing Alberto Ferretti. And honestly, you know what? I'm not really mad about this. Is it extremely simple? Is it extremely not exciting? Yes, but I think Paris just looks good here. I think she looks very, very regal. I think it's sort of taken out of this pink Barbie pop princess that she's sort of been put into. And it's just a really nice, refined sort of style. I love the swag, straps. I think it's really gorgeous. I think it's really stunning. I love the way that it's shot. I think she looks really, really nice. She's wearing Alberto Ferretti again, and listen, it doesn't seem terribly original, but the purple high-waist pants with this sort of ruffle top. Again, like, it's this refined, sort of semi-fashion forward look for Paris, and I like to see that. I feel like her sister Nikki is the one who's sort of always working with the brands and wearing the latest designs, and she's the Rothschild. But Paris, like, can turn looks. Like, she can put it out there and like actually look great. And I think once she shed the sort of pink pop star thing, it's actually really exciting to see because she can carry garments very, very well. And also, like, she's a fucking Hilton. She has the budget to carry them too. Well, she has the budget to have somebody carry them for her after she bought them. Next up is Shira Haas wearing Chanel. Now, this is from the spring, summer 2020, fall 2020 collection. I don't know at this point with Miss Virginia. It all looks the same. But it's a white leather sort of jacket with shorts that is sort of piped in this weird triangle detail all along the pockets and the placket and the hem of the skirt and the armpits and the collar. It's just not that exciting. I like that Shira Haas is a Chanel girl. I think when she was doing Unorthodox and had like the shaved head, it was actually a really cool image for Chanel, but I just don't think Virginie is delivering in terms of looks that are exciting for Shira. And like, there are some Chanel girls that can deliver, like Margaret Qualley on occasion looks interesting enough, but I've yet to really see Shira Haas in like a Chanel look that hits home for me. That, you know, it's not like a look I can bring home to mom. Although I don't think I'm going to be bringing any women in Chanel haute couture home to mom either. Next up is Taraji P. Henson, and she is wearing Valentino. And I love Taraji. This is not the month for Valentino, unfortunately. This black sort of neoprene dress with floral prints on it is just blah. It's boring. It's sad. Wherever this came from, if it's Runway, boutique, sort of custom, it's just not an exciting look. Maybe it sells for Valentino. That's great. Happy for them about that. But it's just, man, it's florals on a dress. And like, florals for spring? florals for fall, florals for anything, need to be groundbreaking. Otherwise, it's just the same shit, different day. It's Groundhog Day all over again. As for the burgundy thigh highs, listen, probably look great at the apple orchard when you're doing your fall pics for Instagram, but not here, not with this look. A black thigh high, doable. In a leather, absolutely necessary, but in a suede, burgundy, Taraji. You know better than this. Next up, Taylor Swift, Stella McCartney. The relationship, it seems like it's fizzling in my mind. Now, it's a sequin sort of turtleneck with a high-waisted tailored pant. Now, here's the thing that I think is actually very interesting about Stella McCartney. She's an icon in terms of sustainability. She's one of the first fashion brands to really sort of pivot to the idea of sustainability. I don't really know how well the practices are implemented, but she was one of the first to really discuss it and do it. The other exciting thing is, like Alexander McQueen himself, she actually studied at Savile Row, so she should know how to tailor garments, and I think these pants are a pretty okay and decent example of that. But I'd like to see more suiting from Stella McCartney. I think they're really great British designers, one being Simone Rocha, who really have sort of elevated the idea and changed the idea of how we see a three-piece suit, or the idea of a three-piece suit, how we see tailoring, and how it shouldn't just be tight fitted garments, but rather can be bouffant, can be sort of outlandish, can sort of be bolsterous. And Stella, listen, the pants look nice. The sequin top looks like shit. It's boring, it's ugly, it's tacky, it's trashy, looks like Forever 21. And now, you know what? Maybe if we put a similar jacket that was beautifully fitted over the sequin top and I didn't have to see it, maybe I'd deal with it better. But the fact that it's just a sequin top and a tailored pant is not exciting. Taylor Swift needs to up the game, up the excitement. You did a whole album called Folklore. Where's like the Bathsheba and the Tory Burch and the, you know, exciting sort of prairie styles from cool up and coming designers? Like, where is that? I want to see that. That makes sense for you, for this album, for this era. This looks like a reject out for Mad Men. So, the finale look we will be talking about is Young Miami and Laquan Smith. Now, Laquan Smith is known for his quite sexy, sumptuous, beautiful styles that I more and more am becoming obsessed with, and I think Young Miami in this sort of sheer stitched bodysuit with velvet sort of details that cover certain aspects of the body, I think she looks great. I love the fact that she's supporting young designers like Laquan Smith, who I'm sure she's very influential, definitely can push others to sort of start looking to this brand, and I'm really happy to see it. I mean, looking at it from the back, I'm like, oh yes, absolutely, would take that, would love to see that. And the thing is, Young Miami, I'm sure, is not like a size 0 model that you see on a runway, so it's nice to see Laquan Smith's work on real people, people that are entertainers, people that do not have the sort of, you know, one size fits all sort of mentality. It's cool to see. It's exciting to see, and I think Laquan Smith is a designer who, for body types, really could deliver in a way that Christian Siriano wishes that he could. So overall, happy about it, good to see it. We love to see celebrities supporting young brands. So that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love doing this, and I'm sorry it was a little bit longer than usual, but like, listen, we had looks to talk about. We had to discuss some things. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and tell me what your favorite outfits were from this whole video. I have to say, I think my favorite look goes to Bree Runway in Moschino. Like, it's just a moment, it's a pannier experience. I am a slut for 18th century French court dress, and I love when designers take it on. Now, as for the worst look of the month, love Taraji, but those suede maroon boots, very ill-advised, really sad, totally killed what could have been just like a normally blah Valentino moment to like a extremely blah, kind of depressing, kind of sad, like have to go take a nap after because I'm snoozing so hard. So overall, those are my best and worst looks of the month. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, and give me your favorites, please. I'd like to know. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and TTYL.